Hey YouTube, InfectedXenon here, coming at you guys with the top 50 side deck cards for YuGiOh September 2013 format. Really late, but whatever, better late than never. And next format, I'll try to have this up earlier in the format. I'm going to quickly go over every single card and what you can side them against and what decks you could possibly use them in. And yeah, so to keep in mind, this is just a guide of what cards you could side. You cannot use all of these in any deck you want to use. For example, if you're on a freaking trap deck, you're not going to run Royal Decree. If you run a dark deck, you're not going to run Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. But if you can slide this in, I do recommend using it. These have been working pretty cool. I kind of use this as a guide myself, just because a lot of times I have trouble picking 15 cards to use in my side deck. So okay, so Banisher the Radiance, of course, side this against decks that revolve around the graveyard, because instead of being sent to the graveyard, it's being banished, so they wouldn't have the graveyard utility to them. DD Crow, good against, again, decks that revolve around graveyard. You can banish the Graphas, they can't summon the Grapha. You can summon the Bujinjis, you can banish their Bujinjis and they can't use their effects. You can use it against dragons pretty effectively when they have 3 in the graveyard and they activate one of their effects, banish the other 2. You banish the one that's activating its effect to summon itself, and banishing it, it won't get a search because it's already activated its effect to special summon itself, so pretty cool. Drilling Lockbird, good against spellbooks or Fire Fist and stuff like that add a lot of cards to from their deck to their hand. Stop their plays. Effect Veiler, of course, against decks that need effects, like Fire Fists. Maxi, good against decks that special summon alive. Mermails, Heretics, Dragon Rulers, of course. It's also good against Prophecies. Flying Sea, good against any deck that XYZ summons a lot, because they can XYZ. I really wouldn't recommend setting this against a deck that XYZs and synchros, because you're giving them a free level 3 to synchro with, so that's not very good to do. Kinda might regret that. Electric Virus, good against Dragon or Machine decks. Just take control of their monster, and hopefully you can find a way to remove it off field. And if you can't, you just try to push for a game that turn, because they can attack. Gore is very good against OTK decks, very good against OTK decks. I think they got you, then you have to get past the 2700 beater and then a token of their monster attack. Kaiku, good against decks that again revolve around graveyard, they can't banish. And if you do damage to them, you banish 2 of their cards for them. Snowman Eater, very good against like decks kind of like Evil Swarm or Jins, because they can't really do anything against that. The pop, and very good in Mermails, because in Mermails you can search it out with Abyss Pike. Pretty cool. Thunder King, again decks that add the cards to their hand and stuff like that. It's cool. I mean, it's only at 1 now, which kind of blows, but if you can draw the one of, you're golden. 1 Consecrated Light against any dark deck shuts them completely down. If you can go Consecrated Light and back row, you're grade A. You got an A+ in my grade book. Tribe Shocking Virus, once per turn, banish 1 monster from your hand, destroy all face-up monsters on the field with the same type as that monster. Very good against Evil Swarms, banish a Fiend, destroy their entire field. Pretty good against anything really, as long as you have a diverse. Like, this would be good in anti-meta. Fencing Fire Ferret, good against again Evil Swarm and any deck really, because whenever it's destroyed by any means, you target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, burn 500 points. 1700 beat stick as well, so you can poke for them, and whenever they manage to destroy you, pop a card. These next 3 cards are mostly better in Frog Monarchs, but they can be used in any deck like Dragon Rulers and stuff. So pretty much this guy, your opponent cannot you guys cannot special summon him. So it's Vanity's Emptiness on wheels. I'm sorry. End of Anubis is a Soul Drain on wheels, and Jinzo is of course Royal Decree on wheels. So very cool. They're all level 6, so you have to manage to tribute summon them, but when you do, their effects are so disgusting it doesn't even matter. For spells, are good for the format. MST, of course, against back row decks. D-Fissure, same reason as Banisher. Soul Taker, get rid of problematic cards and decks. Chaos Dragons may come back, stuff like that. System down against machine decks. Necro Rally is very good if you were running anti-meta, because anti-meta, this destroys dragons, this destroys so many decks. Light Sworn, stuff like that, and not really Light Sworn, but kind of Light Sworn, if they don't draw Lila or JD. It just shuts them down completely, and you're set, left in a good spot. Messenger of Peace against anything. If you're playing a deck like Windups, very good card to side, and I would even main it if I were playing Windups. Has a Coliseum, good in the decks like Fujins. Evil Swarm is not that bad, because you're just placing they cannot have more monsters on your side of the field than you have. So if you have 1 Ophion or 1 Yamato, they cannot exceed exceed, that's I guess the word you would say, kind of exceed that number of monsters. So with your one Yamato, they cannot have more than one Yamato. They can have more than one monster. So that when they go to attack, you can like Bujin, G-Crane and stuff like that to protect him, and you have your backward protect. So they can't do anything. And then when you can't have enough resources to push for game, you do that. And XC's Encore, of course, great against anything, but mostly against Evil Swarms as well. You target one of your opponent's face up on XC's monsters. You bounce back to the extra deck. You special summon both materials at one level lower than they are. So cool. So it's kind of forcing them to run like Zen mains and stuff in the extra deck, and their extra deck spacing is already kind of slow. Kind of what's it called? Kind of limited as it is. So yeah, it just kind of hurts. Breakthrough skill, of course, against effect decks. Mystical Ref Panel, very good against dragons. When they have activated a card like Trade In or Cards of Consonants that they would target themselves to draw 2 cards, you Ref Panel it, and you're drawing the 2 cards instead, and they're wasting their resources from their hands. Debunk, good against dragons again. Whenever they activate an effect, you banish it. So when they're activating their effect to special summon the dragon ruler from the graveyard, you just debunk it, and they get banished, and they don't get an effect. 2 viruses will always be good side deck cards. I mean, there's not much explanation. Stop their spells, traps, and then stop their monsters at 1500 less attack. Right? Yeah, 1500 less attack. Dust Tornado good against back row decks, against effect decks, goes a match against decks that have more than one attribute, such as Dragon Rulers, such as Anti-Meta. Probably have a bad time getting on the 6 Samurai. That's about it. Rivalry against types, so like Constellars or Evil Swarms that they have different types. You can side this in. Imperial Iron Wall cards cannot be banished. Very simple forwards, very freaking detrimental and very punishing forwards. So you good against Bujins, good against dragons, good against a lot of decks. Pretty good against Prophecy too, because they can't Fate, and that's like their win condition. And they can't Priestess pop it either. So Mind Crush, it's always gonna be good against decks that add a lot to their hand. Macrocosmos like Defissure and Banisher of Radiance. Against light decks, negate all their effects, activate in the field or in the grave, and Shadow Mirror. Negate dark effects to activate in the field or in the grave. Needle Sealing against swarm decks. You're gonna want to side this in just to pop all their shit. It's pretty freaking devastatingly good. Needle Sealing for real, to be honest. Overwork good against Fire Fist mainly, but good against Harpies, good against anything that has, usually they have more attack than their original attack. Traps and against trap decks. The Drain, Soul, Skill, and Mind Drain, and even Magic Drain I put in here because these cards are all too good. Drain, okay, so this they can activate. This is End of Anubis. They can activate effects in graveyard. Skill Drain is an effect creator constantly on board, so if you don't need effects, you can just side this in. Mind Drain, good against their hand effects. It's not so good anymore because since the baby dragons are gone, but it stops hand traps, which are always kind of annoying. And Magic Drain, they either negate their spell, or they have to discard another spell so their spell can go through. So if they're gonna go secrets, you activate this, and if they don't discard, let's say Tower, then they can't get secrets to go through. Roll the Decree against trap decks if you don't run traps. Emptiness stops special summons. It's literally Vanity's Fiend on a trap card. As you can see, Vanity's Fiend is even included in the artwork. Dark Bribes stop us rolling traps, and they can draw a card, but whatever. They take away their 1/0 cards like Dark Hole and stuff, and they can draw their 1 card, but it's not a Dark Hole, you know. And Summon Limit, very good against anti-meta. Neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn. Amazing in anti-meta, you're never summoning more than twice per turn. And decks that need to spam like YuGiOhs, Dragons, they can't spam because they can only summon twice per turn. So let me know what you guys think about these 50 side deck cards for this format. Make sure to include some side deck cards that you use in the comment section below for other people to use. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and do all that wonderful things. And InfectedXenon out. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.